Welcome to the BetterHalf show. My name is Godman Akinlabi. My friends call me PG. On this edition of the show, we're going to be discussing criticism and fault finding. If you have been in any kind of relationships before, you will know that the fine balance between constructively criticizing your mate and looking like you're always finding a fault in them can make or mar a relationship. This is what we're discussing today, and I want you to stay with me. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Thanks for joining us on the show. We are discussing criticism and fault finding, and I have some lovely people join me on this discussion today. I have Wemimo and Sukomi Olayoju. Thank you for joining me on the show. And I also have Nora Igono and Boale Kotun. Thank you for joining me on the show.
Thank you so much.
Wemimo and Sukomi, how long have you been married?
We'll be 6 years in January.
6 years, so almost 6 years in marriage. And then Nora, how long have you been married?
Almost 5 years.
Almost 5 years, and
By March, it will be 3 years.
about 3 years in marriage. Okay, as you can see, Nora and Boale are not married to each other, but they are married. While I have Sukomi and Wemimo as Mr. and Mrs. Olayoju. All right, so we are discussing criticism and fault finding. Now, I want us to understand this, that criticism is defined as expressing disapproval of something or someone based on perceived fault or mistakes. So I think it's safe to say that we engage in this fairly regularly.
Very true.
We express our disapproval based on fault that were found or mistakes of the other person. But this usually will start from courtship days, where you are dating, you are engaged to be married. Now, for you, when we want to come in, what's the difference between what criticism was like for you pre-marriage, while you are still courting, and now that you are married? When
we were courting, we usually had issues too. We usually had issues as to, oh, I don't want this, I don't like this, But then, because we were not living together, there was somewhere to run to after such arguments or something. But now that we're married, even if you get angry, even if you are not, he doesn't agree with what I'm saying, the least you could do is probably just go out and then come back, and we'll have a way of resolving it within, compared to when we were cutting that, there was always somewhere to run to.
So no escape routes.
No escape routes.
We have to resolve it. Sukomi, what about you? What do you think about the difference?
Well, right before marriage, for me, the key issue was more of I have a picture of where I'm going, and I expect everybody to conform to that. One example pretty well is hours she works in the office. Maybe because I always work and close early, I expect everybody to conform to that. So it's always this challenge of, are you guys just staying in the office and working late? And I can't just resolve that in my mind so quickly. So there's always this bankers working late. So why is it so? Why can't you just get out of the office as quick as enough once you're done with your task? And we rant about it once in a while. After a while, okay, well, I'm sure one day we'll get out of this, and everybody gets to understand each other.
Interesting, interesting. So, Boale, what was the difference like for you? Criticism in courtship and now that you've been married for about 3 years.
I'll just, use an example. My wife likes to, when she's angry, maybe somebody annoyed her from where she's coming from. There's what we call transferred aggression. Before courtship, I was just the willing guy. Just talk to me. I was just a good guy.
While you were courting?
Yes.
Yeah.
But after marriage, I said, Madam, wait. If anybody annoyed you, I'm not the one. Don't transfer your aggression to me. And she was like, but before, you used to listen to me. I said, okay, don't worry. But just know that when you are angry, just try and resolve it. Just, let's find a way.
So that was then. This is now.
This is now.
I mean, then I could cope with at least let this relationship
continue. Exactly.
But now this is real life. And manage your emotions. Yeah.
Exactly.
Nora, what's your take on this?
Well, for me, I think what really stood out is
Okay, my husband is a very vocal person. And I think, thinking back to when we were dating, maybe he was gentler and nicer in the way that he reprimanded or complained about things. And these days, well, let's just say he's not so nice. And then he says it as it is on his mind. And sometimes I find the things said very hurtful or extreme. And I'm wondering, do you have to be this hard? But every time I think that, I recall when we're dating, and I recall that I used to hear him talk to his sister. And thinking back now, he was this hard on her. And I used to think then that he was hard on her. And I noted that he wasn't that hard on me. And I thought, okay, maybe she deserved it. Maybe it was the way she did something. But now I make the comparison, and I just realize it's who he is. He was just nicer then. He was wooing me and trying to bait me. And now I'm in the net.
But really, is it like marriage really, breeds familiarity and kind of brings out the inner critic in you?
Oh, definitely.
That the things you overlooked before, now that we're in marriage, I can't really overlook it again. Yeah, you want to say something to that?
Yes, I do want to speak to that. I think that on the one hand, there may be the fact that it breeds familiarity, and there are very different ways that spirals. So, for instance, I'm thinking it just may be that at the start of your relationship, the person still had a lot of leeway to give. But the more time I spend with you, I probably start thinking, we've been talking about this for so long, why haven't you changed? And then your patience starts to thin. And I think maybe that's why we notice that criticism heightens.
And now that we even see each other every day, we're in the house together. So maybe before now, you used to see those things just once in a while.
Definitely.
But now that we're together, I see it every day. And, I just can't take it any longer. Yeah, so you've been nodding. It looks like there's something coming up in your mind.
While dating,
Yeah.
you're trying to, let me keep some of my faults. Let me not show myself. Let me not, let this other my spouse know who exactly I am. But when you are married, you guys are practically glued together. So it's more like, a see-finish situation. You've seen it all. So you now have to know how to balance it such that there won't be fine. It's not like you won't have issues, but you know how to balance it to,
Well, Sukomi, were there things that surprised you, maybe after marriage, that made you more critical? Have you surprised yourself in the way you criticize sometimes?
Very well, yes. I have surprised myself.
Well, can you give us an example?
During courtship, just like you said previously, we see sparingly, yes, because of work, and then you're only able to see just a few things. Well, after marriage, I realized that there is always this statement of nagging wife. I see myself at some point, I was like a nagging husband. Maybe because of my background and training and profession, I take notice of every detail and issues, and I begin to so why are we not doing this? So why is it that the last time we discussed this, you were supposed to get back to me on this, and you were not forthcoming?
You treated everything like project management.
Something like that, sir. So, my perception was like, is it that I didn't know how well? A quick example is you want to travel, and you are traveling prior to now, and you have packed your bag. And we have driven halfway, and the next thing is, I left something in the house. I had to turn all the way back home again, and what were you thinking when we were? And
but when you were cutting, you would have said, okay, sweetheart, don't worry.
Right.
Just a few minutes.
Yeah, just a few minutes. Okay.
Well, so this project manager thing, is it all men?
Yeah,
Did it happen to you after marriage too?
Of course, by my nature, even when I don't like to be confrontational. So while we're even cutting, there's some things I saw, but because you just want to be nice, and but immediately we got married, I know that this is for life. So this particular thing, I can't tolerate, because if you are planning to get married for life and you can't live with this thing, then I just have to make up my mind to confront her. And she was like, but this thing was used. It wasn't an issue when we were cutting. I said, but it's now.
You know,
It's
that's why
unusual.
people say that you change after marriage. But it's not really like you have changed. It's just that you're knowing more.
Exactly.
You know, more exposure, you know, and all that. As you can see, this discussion is really getting interesting. So I don't want you to go away. Please stay with us. We're going to take a break, but we'll be right back. Welcome back. It's the Better Half Show, and we've been discussing criticism and fault finding. All right, guys. You know, this topic has become, you know, a little bit tricky. There are certain things you do that gets your spouse angry, as in the way you criticize, you know, and all that. But there's some other things that they do that you criticize them for, mainly because you are the one that will bear the brunt of. I mean, let me give you an example. Your spouse comes back from work, you know, maybe just take off his or her shoes, leaves it somewhere. You know you have to pick it up. So you definitely will complain about it. Can we remember some of those things? You know? Guys, so maybe I should start with you. What are some of those things that you know you have to pick up the slack? And you say it all the time, but she still goes ahead to do it.
For me, the key issue will be more about delegation.
Yeah.
My wife believes she's the superwoman. She can do practically everything, and that's where's her thing. So it's a recurring thing, and she doesn't see reasons why she should not do it because she's the woman in the house. She can handle everything. So I go about like saying, this you can delegate,
So she can.
this you can leave, but she's like, to who? Why? Why should I do that?
Yeah.
I can do all that by
So
myself.
she likes to remove the bulb,
She wants
climb
to
the
do-
electricity
she's the
pole,
house manager.
you know, do.
And it's just something I can delegate.
So, Wale, what about you?
Okay, for me, I've been trying to work with my wife. I mean, about to be able to plan. You know, maybe she wants to do something this weekend, and she has not planned herself very well. You know, so that is one thing she does, and I try to work with her because at the end of the day, a lack of not planning kind of affects me. Because, okay, you are going somewhere or you are going to work. You didn't tell me that you're going to work the next day. I already have my own plans.
But yet she still hates you criticizing her about it.
Yes, she was like, how am I supposed to know? Especially when it has to do with taking care of our baby. Because she's going now, and I have to take care of him. And it was not in my own plan before. So, madam, can you just tell me ahead so that I can know? But yet, I mean, we are working on it. She's getting better on it.
Let's hear from the ladies. Wemimo, you know, why don't you like to delegate, despite the criticism?
Really, I would say probably my upbringing.
Okay.
I've not been used to delegating duties. And then at home, I'm like, will I delegate to you to tidy up the house? No. And I've never been having a nanny kind of person. So this I know I have to do. Let me get it done. Telling me to delegate, you are wasting my time. I would have.
So no merit in this
Just
criticism.
let me do what I have to.
Just let me do. Simply means that certain things that we criticize about are things that we may just have to, you know, to live with. Nora, you know, there's this thing also about some habits. You know, for instance, for me, my wife may complain, why are you talking while you are eating? You know, I like to talk, so let me talk. My work is talking. I'll continue to talk even when I'm eating. You know, all those kind of things. And she complains about it all the time. Is there something like that your husband does too?
Okay,
You know?
things that he complains about me. Well, okay. I'm going to say two things that get me in trouble repeatedly, and I ask myself, why do I keep falling into those traps? Missed calls. So if I pick up my phone and I see 5 missed calls from Victor, I'm thinking, oh my Lord, what am I going to say? And sometimes I wonder, why is it so annoying? Obviously, I wasn't looking at the phone and saying 1, 2. I just wasn't there, or I was on another call, or I was doing something else, but somehow it just always gets me in trouble. And the other one, embarrassingly, is about food.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I fall into this mode of, oh, we're all busy, we'll get to food later. Or we're having a lazy Saturday. I'm not hungry, we must all not be hungry just yet. Until at some point, I'm hearing, are we not going to eat this morning? So that happens a lot, and it's a real pain.
Can I say something to that food
Yeah,
one?
go ahead,
I just
go
remember when we're dating, me and my wife, and she cooks, and sometimes maybe there's something with the food. I just eat it with love. After marriage, I can't continue. I said, madam, but you don't used to complain about my food when we're dating.
Why not?
So she doesn't. So now she just say, why can't you just come and tell me in a loving manner? Because I'll just say this food is bad. This food but where's all this coming from? Why can't you just before you just eat it with love and all of that? So that food thing is something that also bring.
Well, that's a good one. Let's say common denominator in what you said, and this is when your spouse, has a complaint, a legitimate complaint. You can't starve your husband and the family. The same way a woman can continue to cook and it's not really so nice. And the other one she said, women, they said the people say they keep their phones in their bag. How can your husband be trying to reach you? And this is the only sweetheart that I have. I don't plan to have another one. And I can't reach you. I can't talk to you. Now, why don't we deliberately try to work on some of those things that our spouses complain about?
I think for me, what has worked, and I'll say I also learned this from Toastmasters, is what we call the CRC. We commend, recommend, and commend. I noticed that my complaints and my fault finding sometimes does not achieve the results that I'm trying to do. So a lot of time, maybe I'll start from the food end. I'll first of all plant a kiss in my wife's back. I said, this is a lovely meal. So after I said, but actually, if you had reduced the salt
a bit.
This food will have been very, but I appreciate the food. It's very good. It's very good. Next time you can try to do away with the salt. So it doesn't go direct. I'm not hitting her, but I just land it well such that at least I first of all appreciated the fact that at least there is a meal for me to eat. They are now telling her that, these salts matter, or the pepper issue. That's one area I've been able to...
Some have food and cannot eat. Some can eat and have no food.
Yeah.
So, does that really work for you? He called it CRC or something like that.
Yes.
Recommend. Is it
Well,
working for you?
It is.
Okay.
It is. It's really working in that. If he had told me like, oh, there's so much salt in this food, the way I would take it might be, oh, but you've eaten now. Have I not made the meal or something? But telling me lovingly makes me appreciate him more. And then the next time I tend to, oh, this man corrected me the last time. Now I need to take to correction.
A little better. Thank you very much. We're going to take a break now, but when we come back, we're still going to be discussing criticism and fault finding. But I'm going to be bringing on the show a couple, a more experienced couple. I've been talking to people who have just been married for 5 years and below, but a more experienced couple, and we're going to really dig into this topic a little more. Please don't go away. Stay with me. I'll be right back.